Hello, everybody. Welcome back to your AEW Dynamite Modcast review. And boy, do we have a show that we get to show you today and talk about today. I'm so excited. I'm even stumbling over my intro lines because AEW is on absolute fire right now, and this show was just another reason why. I'm joined, as always, by my co-star Dory. Please introduce yourself to the audience for those who don't know at this point.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dory. She, her pronouns. Just wrapped up
That
supporting proud Mexican food by having the blandest, most white person friendly taco of all time. Very excited to talk about our this Dynamite show this week. It's very good, very good. And I'm super happy about Hangman. Probably couldn't be much happier. He gave like the best babyface promo. Probably one of the best babyface promos, I don't know, of all time. Up there.
it's got
I mean,
it's got to
it
be
was
up
so
there.
feel good.
It's got to be up there.
It's got to be up there.
We'll dive into that. Well, we might as well just dive into that right now because it kicked off the show.
Right.
Although actually, what I will say is just to set the scene for you. Coming off of All in Texas, which we reviewed the other day, incredible show. I mean, as if anyone expected it to be anything but still. A lot of hype going into the show because that really felt like a sort of a statement of we are back, we are on fire. Coming into this residency that they are now engaged in Chicago. What did you think of the arena, by the way? I thought, well, I'll ask you first.
It was so cool. I forgot what it was called. I think I saw somebody say the ballroom or something, or which was very funny. And I actually was calling it that all seriously. I was like, "Yeah, Kim, it's called the ballroom," and I didn't get it, but then I got it. Yeah, the Aragon Ballroom looks so good. It's just so unique. I love AEW doing all these unique, smaller venues. I know that we've already, excuse me, sorry. I know that we've already talked to Death about it, but it just looks great on TV. And especially it looks great when Timeless Tony Storm cuts a promo.
I know. I love. So just to talk about the arena, I absolutely adore this place. I'm so glad that because with a residency, you never know. It could be shit, and then it's like, oh well, we're stuck here for a couple of weeks. It's going to look shit on TV every week. But this one looked absolutely stunning. And I always love with all these quirky arenas that Tony Storm always manages to find somewhere new to cut a promo from. Whether it's like a balcony, when they were in the boardwalk hall, she cut a promo on the boardwalk. And with this one, there were so many gorgeous, sort of Latin-inspired balconies that she managed. So many unique areas that I think they'll make use of over these coming weeks. But yeah, very excited to see this beautiful building again. But even more excited to talk about the first promo because, yeah, as you said, Hangman's music hits. Crowd goes absolutely ballistic. By the way, great crowd.
Yes.
I say only. Sold out 1,200 people in there. I saw some people being like, "Well, why would they? Why are they only selling 1,200 people? That's a sellout in this building." And it sounded like it because these people were loud and proud all night long.
Yep.
And
like
none
Adam
more.
in a Kyle Fletcher match.
God damn right you are. But this crowd, like I say, hot all night long. None, no more so than this opening segment because Hangman's music hit in Chicago, which could have been risky, but this crowd embraced him as one of their own because Hangman, this might be a very sort of bold statement to make. One of the greatest baby faces of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about it for some reason, but yeah, I mean, he cut one of the best babyface promos of all time, and consistently throughout AEW, he's always been the best babyface, or at least one of the best baby faces. I mean, I think the only other one, arguably, who has better babyface energy is maybe Willow, but even then that's contested because like Hangman's such a great actor and he gets a lot more chances to show that off, unfortunately, than Willow does. But Willow's great when she does it too, of course. But yeah, I mean, again, got to be up there. Hangman's just an amazing babyface, and he did a very babyface thing because the crowd's like, "You deserve it," and he's like, "Well, I don't think that you understand the point of the match or what I've been doing here. If you're saying that," I'm like, "Oh, okay." He's about to do the classic "I don't deserve it, I earned it" or whatever
Yeah.
thing, and I was like, that's fine, but I'm a little over it. And he's like, "No, I don't deserve it. You deserve it." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's fun. Like that's more interesting than, I don't deserve it. I earned it." Um, but anyway, I thought that was cool. A little good flip. It was a you people promo, but on the babyface side of things, which I don't feel like you see a lot, which was fun.
You people. You
Are
people are
awesome.
brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
uh,
it's like the fucking Parks and Rec meme where it's like people will die. Oh, fun.
yeah. Some of you may die, but it is a sacrifice you're willing to make for me because you love me.
That's right.
Uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, that Hangman said that you guys are the ones who wanted a grassroots alternative. You're the ones that show up every week and make it happen. So you deserve sort of a champion. You deserve. Well, he said you deserve to see the belt as well, which is true because I don't think it's been talked about enough just how much of a heel move depriving us of seeing that beautiful belt actually was. I do genuinely whenever when he comes out with it now, like in this segment, I do sort of find myself appreciating it more. I'm like, God, that is so beautiful
it looks
because we
so damn good.
because we didn't see it for nearly a year.
Yeah. I forgot how good it was.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why, but whenever I sort of conceptualize the AEW belt in my head, it still has the Burberry from MJF's run. I don't know. I just love that belt.
I miss
You
the
know the one
triple
I'm.
B. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I do. I too miss the Triple B. Perhaps we won't miss it for too much longer, which we'll get into later.
If somebody has his way. But I love this. Paige then talks about all the people he needs to thank.
Yes.
Mentions Cassidy, who gets a huge pop, Jay White, who gets a pop, the Cope, the Ops, Danielson, Darby. Then he pauses. I thought he was going to mention Swerve, but he mentions Osprey. Then he says Swerve, and he says, "If I'm going to be the champion and the man that I say I am, then I do have to say this. I don't know whether he helped for himself or for AEW, or for one small moment he decided to help for me, but I will say to Swerve Strickland, thank you." And then he makes a point about toxic masculinity, which I love.
Yeah.
His lower third, I believe, also said the men's world champion or something like that.
Which I love.
Yes.
He's made a point about that throughout this entire thing. Even when he was about to win the Owen and stuff, he was like, "I'm going to win the Owen and I will become the next AEW Men's World Champion." I was like, you know what, I love that
Yeah.
because that has always been a bugbear of mine in whatever promotion you want. That the male world championship is treated as the default world champion, and the women's one is the one that always has the differentiator. So I love that. But he said that I cried, you know, when I won, and people like Moxley would say that makes him less of a man. Um, but he said, I have a wife, I have 2 kids that love me, millions of fans who love me. So he said, if you want to know what kind of man I am, look at me tonight because I'm the champion of the fucking world. And I don't know what it is about a promo, but there's just something about an F bomb that makes everything so much more, impactful. Like I remember when I was in Cardiff, just before the last All In, and Danielson came out to sort of run off Swerve, and the crowd was obviously hot for him, but he just I want to they reminded me who I am, and we were like, yeah, I'm the best in the fucking world, and we all absolutely lost our minds. There's just something about it. It just makes everything better. Am I
Yeah,
wrong?
I agree. I mean, it's really fun. I can think of some really cool F bombs. You know, it's like that discourse where someone's like PG-13 movie means you can have one F bomb. Where do you put it? You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I feel like when a wrestler finds just the right place to put the F bomb or some serious swear or whatever, um, it really adds to the promo. It adds to the gravitas of it, even if it gets censored. I know it doesn't get censored on what is it called? Fight TV. I almost said Fightful. But it does get censored um,
Oh,
elsewhere on Max. I want to say also about Max. Max really fucked me over last night. I'm not sure what the hell was going on, but for a
leave him
little
alone.
while
He's
I
the
couldn't
best
watch it at
wrestler
all on my
alive.
TV. And it was really annoying. At the beginning, they cut to like a bunch of commercials instead of watching Hangman get his pop. So that sucked too. So for some
Uh,
of like the women's match and some of the Tony Storm promo, I'm gonna be like kind of, I don't know. I'm not gonna be maybe as excited as Adam is going to be, but that's just because Max was fucking around. It's not obviously the fault of any of the performers. But anyway, just wanted to give a heads up about that.
Fuck off, Max. You're the worst streamer alive.
Yes, exactly. But I will say one of the best matches alive last night, Masquerade Dorada versus Adam's
No, no, no,
Fave.
no, 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 no. Hold on. We
No?
have something. We
Wait,
have something
what
that
did I
we have to
miss? What did I
talk about.
miss?
We have something that we have to talk about first. Actually, we have two things.
Oh shit, we do, we do, we do,
They
we do.
ran
Yes, yes, yes.
they ran first of all. They ran a sort of video package looking back at All in Texas with a bunch of sort of stats about I don't know social media or largest gate or whatever, which I don't good for them. I don't really care about it. But they did sort of have. I can't remember the number. It was upwards of 2,000 pyrotechnics launched,
Yes.
which did make me laugh very much. Just a good, they've earned the victory lap. It was a fantastic night. Good for them. But also, more importantly, for the substance of this show, Matt and Nick Jackson, and we can call them that now
Yes, we
because
can.
fuck that. Matt and Nick Jackson. I think Excalibur explicitly said, "Yeah, we're not calling them Matthew and Nicholas. They don't own us anymore." Um, they've been arriving to the shows in like a limo every week for a good couple of months. It'd be showed on the Tron or whatever. And this time they arrive in a beat up Nissan Uber. Get out, and they're obviously incredibly sort of distressed that everyone can see them. Um, you know, Sunk to new lows. And they and what's the word I'm looking for? A new detail that I didn't notice on the first watch, but I noticed on the second, is that they have to go in through the tradesman's entrance. They don't even get to go in through any sort of wrestler's entrance. They have to go in through the service entrance.
So
Just
good.
just
I
really
just
great
was
stuff.
howling all night. And when we get to their match later on, we'll be talking about it even more. But yeah, this was incredibly funny. It's a real riches to rags story. I love this shit. Matt and Nick are so good at making themselves the butt of the joke. So props to them.
I
This was hilarious.
Yeah, I remember someone in the sort of live chat when we were watching compared this to Sad Corbin.
Wasn't gonna mention it, but fuck you. Now I am. Look, okay. It was the first thing I could think of because I can't remember many storylines where people are really wealthy on screen and then lose everything and become like fucking poor. I enjoyed Sad Corbin. I'm sorry. I wasn't watching the product, but I did watch a couple clips where Sad Corbin was in, and it was kind of funny the way he kept getting fucked about. And I don't know. I enjoyed the storyline. I'm not saying, oh my god, it was amazing, but it reminded me of it because I can't think of many. I guess it happened to DDP as well in WCW when he became poor or some shit. Somebody else mentioned that, but I didn't remember that one. The first thing that comes to my mind is Sad Corbin. So Sad Bucks.
I just want to say you absolutely disgust me.
Whatever.
Just
um,
just
but
disgraceful.
Yeah, you know what else is disgraceful? How amazing at wrestling Masquerade Dorada is.
He really
That doesn't
is.
make any sense. But the match was so good, dude. I need Masquerade Dorada and Big Hatch, of course, wrestling as much as possible in AEW. I'm not saying they got to sign him or whatever, but anytime they're on TV, I'm excited. I'm happy. Dorada was so cool. He did this slingshot drop kick, which he planted his foot. It says here not on the ropes, but on the ring post,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it was sick, dude. It was sick.
There are so many different spots in this match that I just went, how in the blue fuck has he done that? Like,
Yeah,
you know, he even in like the first minute, he'd ended up doing like this sort of slingshot in between the turnbuckle between the two ropes, and somehow ended up with like a, I don't know, I think it was like a tornado or an arm drag or something. But just the athleticism, just the incredible composure to do that, I was like, how, what the hell are you even on? You know, and
yeah,
combine that with the fact that it was Carl Fletcher, who is A, absolutely brilliant as a wrestler, and B, just, I mean, words fail me.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was super good. Very high impact moves from Kyle. Incredible athleticism from Dorada the whole time. Fletcher even popped out a boss man slam. Love seeing a good boss man slam every now and
Yeah.
then.
God, I love a boss man slam. One of the
Yeah.
best moves in wrestling. And not many, not many people bust them out anymore. I remember, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but I remember it was when Big Bill and Ricky, I'm going to call him Ricky Starks, Big Bill and Ricky Starks faced Sting and Darby. And Darby did like a tope through the ropes, and Big Bill caught him, swung him around, hit the most crazy boss man slam I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm like,
remember that. As soon as you started talking about it, uh, that visual came back to me.
oh, beautiful move. Anyway, but yeah, this match, it went about sort of 10 minutes. Incredible action throughout. If you haven't caught it, make sure to catch it because you'll be absolutely blown away. But as expected, um, you know, Carl Fletcher, I think Masquerade goes for a moonsault. Carl Fletcher catches him. I think he sort of lawn darts him into the turnbuckle, hits that really weird sort of flying big boot that he does. That always looks great. Brainbuster, Bob's your uncle, 1, 2, 3, done. As it should be. Anything else to add? Just great opening match.
Just a really great opening match. Dorada had a really cool shooting star press off at one point. And then eventually and did a really cool 450, a top ropes
Yes.
corkscrew Frankensteiner, which was crazy too.
Oh
But
my god, yeah.
eventually, yeah, Kyle just was able to outmaneuver him, and yeah, got the win. I don't know if everyone saw it, but Fletcher also cut a really cool promo on Dustin. I know Adam saw it more than once probably, but that man's winning that TNT title. I'm not sure when, but it's probably soon. It's sooner
I
than later.
I reckon it will be at the end of this residency. So I'm giving Dustin 3 weeks to build to this match. You know, maybe get 1 or 2 title defenses in, feel good moments, and then because it's in Chicago and Carl Fletcher now lives in Chicago, I think it just makes sense for it to be, maybe the last night of the residency, Dynamite, hopefully, but probably Collision because Collision is on TNT and you want to do the change on TNT. Um, 5 minutes max. Just have him fucking kill him. I like Dustin. I'm not one of these people that sort of huffs and puffs when Dustin, the old timer, is on my screen. I really like him, but it just makes logical sense. Dustin gets his lovely heartfelt moment in Texas. He has a very short run where he does maybe 1 or 2 things, and then Carl Fletcher comes out of it looking incredible by just killing him dead. No ifs and buts about it. Just absolutely murder the poor bastard and get your title, Kyle.
Yeah. So next
Uh,
up,
yes.
the former EVPs. We had another little skit with them. My favorite part was probably with Renee when she's just had this shit-eating grin the whole time,
Yeah.
asking them how they feel. And Matt just like, you enjoying this? Laugh it up. Just good shit. And a
Yeah.
backstage crew member crossed out the EVP with a black marker.
I know. Oh,
um,
and not to mention them coming past Marina Shafir, sort of, hey, haven't seen you since sort of All In. How was it? And she just gives them the most withering look of disgust and just walks past them.
yep, just incredible
Uh,
stuff. We
yeah,
did get something serious out of this, though. Don Callis kind of made a showing of alliance towards them, and
yeah. I mean,
we'll see where this goes. I'm not exactly clear on where this goes. Maybe blood and guts, or maybe just like a cool little thing for a while. I did see people joking that they're gonna make DCF trigger instead of EVP, and they can't do BT either unless
no.
they bring
I
that back as baby faces or heels or something.
I
But
also saw someone say that they should rename it the EBT trigger. Um, which I am reliably informed is a reference to welfare in America.
it sure is. I've used EBT cards myself when I was a lot poorer. So yeah. But anyway, I think that'd be funny. I don't know. Maybe the taste there is questionable. I do understand the point though, but I don't know. I would rather
I
them
think
just
I
do
think they
these.
were I think they were only joking, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway,
Um,
so also funny is that Don Callis said that Kenny Omega's dead. So
yeah, he just and they wasn't as if like some big sort of boast. It was like, I know we guys have had our problems, but hey, now that Kenny's dead, we can put all that behind us. I love Don Callis. I know some people aren't particularly high on him, but I think he's brilliant.
now somebody who has the same situation. Some people aren't hot on him, but I think he's fucking brilliant. MJF. This was one of his best promos in a while.
It really was.
And I
I
say that
love
as someone who doesn't mind Goofy Max, and I don't mind when he does his shtick of like, ad hominems and whatever else. It doesn't bother me like it bothers. So I understand why, but yeah, I mean MVP did some. I don't care honestly. Like I love MVP, but like it's just the same routine. He's tired of begging. I'm tired of him begging too. Just like cut a different promo. You know what I mean? Um,
yeah.
and then he mentioned the legendary tag team, so obviously Cope and Christian. We'll talk about that later. And I love this from Max. So he explains why he didn't cash in because he does reveal basically it's a cash in kind of situation, which means Max
Yeah.
is 100% winning, by the way.
Oh,
Or I mean
debatable.
he should be. I don't think that's anytime soon. I think he's going to be
I
held up by Mystico. I think he's going to be held up by Briscoe. I don't think we see anything
I
come
have a
out of it
theory.
until I could even see World's End, honestly,
I have a
especially
theory.
because that's where Max lost it, right?
I have a theory
Yeah,
because he says in this promo that he said he doesn't need this contract. He doesn't need to cash in. He basically said, without saying, that he's going to call his shots ahead of time and beat him
right.
fair and square in the ring. I think he'll stick to that. I think he will call his shot in advance, main event at pay per view, like he did, by the way, when he had the casino chip, which is basically the same sort of deal, like 3 years ago. I reckon he'll do that. I reckon he'll call his shot, main event, lose, and that's when I think the Hurt Syndicate turn on him. We invited you in here because you said you could get business done. You had all the promise in the world. You were going to be the world champion, and you fucked it up. And we don't want to be associated with losers. So I think that's when you get the NJF Hurt Syndicate, um, you know, feud that we were sort of not promised, but we expected.
Right.
That's what I think is going to happen personally.
I definitely think that's possible. I would go in the opposite direction. I think Max will win via interference from the Hurt Syndicate. And then he will start kind of another heel stable run, but it'll be different, obviously, than Death Riders. The Hurt Syndicate doesn't really rely on interference as much. They pretty much just hurt you and put you down. It's really just Max who interferes in the matches. So
That's what makes me think that they might turn on him. Just because they're not they're not an interference. They're very much a we win because we're sort of dominant and we can get it done without needing to do that.
Right.
Whereas Max,
Yeah.
When Max says, "Okay, I'm going to be just like you. I don't need to interfere. I don't need any bollocks. I could just go in there in the middle of the ring and get it done," and he loses. At which point they're like, "This guy's a fucking loser."
Yeah, I could see that happening now that you put it that way. We'll see. I think there is a world in which Max convinces them to his side about interferences being a good part of their strategy. You've seen that kind of interplay between him and Bobby, but you could definitely be right. I could see it one way or the other. But either way, great promo by Max. And basically explains again why he didn't cash in. He doesn't need this to beat him. He's gonna beat you and clean the ring. And he says he's the physical embodiment of Hangman's depression, and cannot wait to push Hangman back over the edge into a pit of his own despair. Nice guys finished last. This was a great promo. So great stuff here. Explained. I know for the third time I'm going to say this, but explained why Max didn't take advantage of a battered and bruised Hangman.
Yeah, love serious Max. I don't mind goofy Max, but I love serious, locked in, dangerous Max. Just give me it all the time. But after this, we have the 8-man tag, all-star 8-man tag. My personal match of the night. We'll get to why you're laughing. But yeah, my personal match of the night. I don't know about you.
I think so. I'd have to look back at the match.
It's either this or the opener.
Let's see. Okada gets a win. The trio. Yeah. This is definitely match of the night. Yep.
But yeah, well, everyone sort of makes their entrance, as you do. Oh, we should mention Bandido, Jet Speed and Brody King versus Josh Alexander, Hechiseno, and the Young Bucks. Everyone sort of makes their entrance. All the baby faces are very over, which is always a good sign. Love Bandido. Josh Alexander and Hechiseno come out. I love Josh. I wish this was sort of Hechisero's music because I think Hechiseno was better. But that's all by the by, because the Young Bucks come down, and they come down to their sort of EVP theme, which I was like, oh, interesting. They're sort of on the Titantron, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. All very standard. They're coming out in their EVP inspired sort of waistcoat gear. I'm like, okay, everything seems like nothing's changed. And then they go to hit their pose, for the pyro, and nothing happens. And Nick does the whole, waving his arm, come on, do the pyro. Nothing happens. And then the music cuts off. And I thought it might have been a mistake at first. I gotta be honest. I was like, what the hell's going on? Especially since, you'd said about Max flubbing it and whatever. I thought, oh, what's happened here? But then no, music cuts off, the Tron cuts off, and it just comes up with the most Comic Sans bullshit of just Matt and Nick.
The graphic design is my passion kind of energy.
Yeah. Proper Windows paint.
That's right.
Matt and Nick, and plus a couple of sort of stills of them getting beaten by Osprey and Swerve at the pay-per-view. And I love, the best part about this whole thing is Justin Roberts, on the mic, has been dogged by the Young Bucks over the past months, getting him to read out all of their founding father screeds, and, they are our EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, blah, blah, blah. And he's got the biggest shit-eating grin on his face, just going, and introduced into the ring, they used to be EVPs, and now they're not. And he just, please welcome Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, yay!
Incredible stuff.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And also worth mentioning, if Adam didn't mention it, that all the stuff on the Tron was them like eating shit, like taking losses or getting pinned or taking moves. Like none of it was them on the offense looking good. It was all of them looking bad.
I think it was basically all from Swerve and Osprey, that
Yes.
match. So yeah. But lest we forget, by the way, with all of this sort of shithousery, there's still the Young Bucks. And, throughout all of these 8-man, 6-man all-star tags that we've had over the last couple of months, most of them involving the Young Bucks. They have had ample opportunity and, reason to remind us that they are, in fact, the Young Bucks, the greatest tag team, for my money, of all time. And they showed it again in this match because they are just phenomenal. They really are.
Yeah. I'm so tired of this where the Bucks constantly have to prove that they can go still. Like the Escalera that they still do is amazing. The tag team moves they do are great. Yeah, undeniably they've slowed down, but their pace is still incredible. And they're still like, they're not batting 1,000, but they're batting like 900. You know what I mean? Like they're still doing incredibly well, especially because they're not really the young Bucks anymore. They're more like the middle-aged Bucks. So,
But not only that, I think this is genuinely the best year that they've had in AEW for a good few years, like at least probably like since 2021. This is the best the Young Bucks have been consistently, in AEW, I think.
yeah.
Yo,
Yeah, I mean, that's probably true. I remember their early EVP run was very fun character-wise, but match-wise, at least for some people, wasn't really living up to the expectations. I feel like they've been more consistent with that lately.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
The
But
early
either way.
stuff was, the early stuff was okay, but they have really, really shined this year. Reminded
Yeah.
everyone, if you look at, I've just got like a list of all the things that they've done. When you consider the match with, say, Private Party, the match with Carl Fletcher and Will Ospreay, the match with do you remember when they faced Jet Speed on like a random Dynamite a couple of months
Yes.
ago? That was incredible. I remember
That was
thinking
so good.
that was absolutely mind blowing. They were brilliant in Anarchy in the Arena. I remember they had a 6-man with I think it was they teamed with Ricochet against who was it? Mark Briscoe, Mike Bailey, and I think it was Swerve.
Yeah.
Um,
Sounds right.
and that was incredible. And not to mention obviously the match they had in Texas, which was just incredibly brilliant.
Right.
They've had a genuinely excellent sort of 9-10 months there.
But can they do fractions? I mean, fractiums. Sorry.
Fractions.
I was just trying to make a stupid fraxium joke.
Oh
Anyway,
God.
I know it's terrible. I my brain's a little cooked. All right, I just worked 8 hours and then did 2 hours in a class. So, but anyway,
Honestly,
yeah.
I'm cooked as well. But I'm
But
cooked from the heat.
yes, the Heat also. But this 8-man tag was awesome. Got to see Brody King and Josh Alexander go at it. Love it. Love their rivalry. They've had 2 matches, I want to say now. And I think the
Yeah.
first one they tied, and the second one I want to say Brody won.
I believe so, yeah. Let me just check, because I can check these things.
Nice. But yeah, they
Well,
were going at it, so that was a nice callback to that. Bandito and Hetchy started picking up the pace in terms of the build for their eventual match, probably at Death of what the fuck is it called?
Death Before Dishonor.
Death Before Dishonor. That I couldn't remember before. I knew it
Also,
was Death something Dishonor.
I looked it up, by the way. Since Josh, if we include multi-man matches, since Josh Alexander has joined AEW, he's faced Brody King 6 times.
Wow. These guys like
I mean,
wrestling each other.
one of those was a casino gauntlet, so I don't know whether we should count that. But,
Yeah.
5 times at least, which is, incredible.
I want to say too that sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, one of those sort of mid-card rivalries that you don't think about until it's in front of you, and then you think, oh yeah, they've been doing this they've been doing this quite a while. They've been, they've had that cooking quite, sort of under the radar, but it's been good
Yes.
stuff.
And then I want to say also, this isn't, I don't think this is anywhere near a hot take since he's been dealing with injuries and hasn't been able to show out as much, but Bandito, probably his best year in AEW, almost certainly.
Oh, indisputably.
Yeah.
The-
Undisputed
this
even.
this guy's got people saying that he's going to be like the first Mexican AEW world champion. That's how
Yeah.
good a year this guy is having. And
It's
I
me,
find
I'm
it very
people.
hard. I was going to say I find it very hard to disagree because he is just. It's been a real sort of showcase, sort of standout year for him so far. You know, he's
Yes.
had, and it's worth mentioning, if he feels like one of the people that's been sort of part of the furniture for quite a while, you know, it's like, oh yeah, Bandito, he's been there. He's only 30. You know, the best years are still ahead. At least I hope so.
Yeah. I think he's got another good like 10, 15 years, you know. That's a lot of banditoing to be banditoing.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this was great. Kevin Knight, a joy to watch as always, with a leaping double drop kick, bringing in Mike Bailey right afterwards, and just like axe kicks, buzzsaw roundhouse kicks, and Orihara like a triangle moons. I love when he does a triangle moonsault, dude. I
Yeah.
don't give a fuck about geometry, but when I see that triangle moonsault, I'm like, you go, dude. Like math it up.
He's absolutely brilliant, and I loved the
Yeah.
synergy of the Young Bucks as well in this match with the, you know, the Don Callis family. You know, even playing into the finish because the finish was surprisingly Bandito getting pinned, which I did not call at the
I did
start of
not
this
see
match
that coming either,
whatsoever.
but it makes sense for the build.
It does, you know. I didn't necessarily think that either one of Jets. I thought that Josh Alexander was in this match to get pinned. That was basically my thought process. But Josh Alexander, he sort of picked Bandito up, and the Young Bucks hit basically what was a TK driver with Josh Alexander's help.
Yeah.
Sort of lifted him up, super kicked him in midair, and Hechicero choked him out, which, like I say, it shocked me. But I appreciate the direction they're going. You're going to probably get, like you say, Bandito versus Hechicero at Death Before Dishonor, which should be absolutely incredible, by the way, because, you know, they're both just superb wrestlers. And wrestlers that I could... Oh, what were you going to say?
I was gonna no, we'll get to the end of the match and then I'll say something about Hetchy.
No, I was just going to say, they're two wrestlers. I don't know if they've wrestled each other before this match. Oh, they have. They have once or twice. But they're definitely wrestlers that I could see having great chemistry together.
Yeah. And Hetchy is the one actually who got the pin, and I'm seeing now from Lucha Blog that it seems like Hetchy has signed with AEW on a dual contract. So similar to Takeshita with NJPW. So
I've
I was
been
literally just
waiting.
talking about how I'd love to see more of Hetchy. It looks like we're getting that.
I've been waiting for that because I said either last week or the week before that of all the people that have benefited from the CMLL partnership in AEW, Hechicero is right at the top of the list. Because
Yes,
people who have been
he's incredible.
people who have been in the know about CMLL have been banging that drum for years. You know, if you ever heard anybody talk about talk about Hechicero before this partnership, you know, they'd say, "Oh, he's one to watch. You got to be, you know, you got to be on the lookout for him." But now with this partnership, everyone has seen what he's capable of. You know, he got booked for Rev Pro. I was in the building seeing him wrestle Zack Sabre Jr. And this was Zack Sabre Jr. coming off the G1. You know, hometown hero, everyone was chanting for him. They were almost as loud for Hechicero as a G1 winning hometown hero Zack Sabre Jr. You know, you put this guy in front of people and he will blow people's minds. So yeah, I'm very, very excited, and I've been waiting for this news for a long time that Hechicero has signed with AEW. Very happy to hear that.
Yeah, it was good stuff. I also want to talk about the next promo, unless we want to say
Yes,
anything else
yes,
about the
carry
match.
on,
Yeah.
carry on.
So the rated R superstar. Now it seemed weird because they said Adam Copeland on the. I fucking hate this stupid discussion. But we have to, I have to talk about it.
Mm,
They were saying Adam Copeland on the graphic, but then they said Cope, and I don't know what's going on if they're flip flopping again. I know Adam is really the one pushing for it because he thought Cope sounded better than Adam Copeland. I don't really think that's the case.
yeah,
I
it's
don't
not.
care. I don't care either way. I really think this whole discussion is making mountains out of molehills. And I do think it makes for very funny sentences where people say that they love Cope. But regardless, Cope had a big promo about Christian. Honestly, I like this promo a lot, but there's not a ton to say.
No.
It's just basically like, no, I didn't come out there to save Christian. Christian's an asshole. I do, hope that he finds himself, and I'm here to kill FTR. Stoke comes
Yeah.
out. Stokes got some impressive looking security, really wanting the violence to go on for an indeterminable amount of time, if you know what I mean, Adam.
Yes, possibly for as long as you can do it.
That's right. But yeah, this was good
Just
too.
to say for anyone very confused, one of the security guys is Kevin Koo, who is a member of the excellent Chicago-based tag team of Violence is Forever.
I love that they always get Kevin and sometimes his tag partner too when they're doing security stuff around Chicago. It makes me very excited and hopeful that look, here's 3 tag teams I would love to see in this sounds like clickbait. I would love to see in AEW. Fucking obviously Violence is Forever. Sinner and Saint, they're so fucking good and they're absolutely being wasted in
Yes.
TNA. And then the third team, oh man, I'm not going to remember them off the top of my head. But there was a third team that I mentioned last night while we were watching that I'd also love to see. And I don't remember what they were off the top of my head. But yeah.
My personal thing is I don't want them to be on the national stage yet because I selfishly want to keep them to the English indies myself for a couple of years. But eventually, someone, not said, but someone needs to get Sunshine Machine on a national scale because they are absolutely fantastic.
C4. C4. That's what I was thinking about. I would love to see C4. And they have already made some dark appearances. I've heard great things about that tag team, by the way, Adam. So I would agree. Midnight Heat, also a really great tag team. I don't know. I'm not saying we raid the indies. I'm not saying we sign all these people. I'm just saying I'd love to see more of them in a tag team situation so we can really revitalize that tag division. But anyway, I digress.
Definitely. But yeah, shout out Chuck Mambo and TK Cooper. We love you.
So Stoke came out, big Stoke, of course, said that Spike was banned, and he has to basically leave FTR alone. If you try to even shake their hands, you're fired, which never holds in wrestling, but okay. And Stoke gets pointed out the obvious by Cope. It does sound nice. Cope's like, well, it doesn't say anything about you. And just beats the shit out of the security guards, beat the shit out of Stoke. The crowd chants Oopa Loopa before that, so that was great. And we're gonna see where this.
One thing I will say. This
Yes.
is my gripe bomb, if I may be permitted. Just 1 minute.
Okay.
Stoke is obviously a very funny guy. He cut a promo here that was very sort of quite heated, actually, saying, I know the sort of 3 anonymous emails is quite a funny thing, but, he was basically saying, you'll be fired. If you think FTR is scared of you, absolutely not. You need to find a hobby, leave FTR alone. If you come for us, we will put you, quite sort of getting amped up. And Cope goes, well, you look like an Oompa Loompa. And I get that the crowd found it funny, but I was just like, that's your rebuttal? God damn, man. I don't know. It just sort of sucked the life out of it for me, because I was very much expecting him to be like, well, they didn't say anything about you. I wish he'd have just done that and not done the, you look like an Oompa Loompa. Do you know what it gave me, Dory? Do you know what energy it gave me? It gave me Fruity Pebbles energy, which should never be an energy that I ever have to experience again in my wrestling.
Yeah, I can't say Oompa Loompa was the best insult, but the crowd really vibed with it, so good for them.
Yeah, the crowd vibed with Fruity Pebbles as well, and I was 10, and I was like, fuck me running.
Yeah,
I
it
need a
didn't bother me,
cigarette.
but I can understand it.
I don't want to focus on the negatives, but because this was a really good show. But like, goddamn, man,
Yeah.
get. I just found myself thinking, like,
I do think Cope needs better insults. I will
yeah,
agree
get
with you
better
there.
material. I get you're like a 50-year-old man and you spent your entire career in the Fed and that's what you built on. But like, you know, that's then. This is now. Figure it out, man. You're smart
Right.
enough. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
We should say Stoke got speared. Sold it very well.
Yes, did a
Sold it
great
very
job.
well. Sold it. God damn, I'm very tired. Even my grammar is failing me. But yes, Mark Briscoe then said, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, quacks, walks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. If it walks and talks like a bitch, it's a bitch. And MJF, you're a bitch, basically. Although I shouldn't say basically because this promo tapped into a lot of that sort of. Mark Briscoe is another one that could be quite a goofy guy, like the conglomeration words of the day, and he does it very well. But I love when Mark Briscoe sort of drops the goofy veneer and is like, I'm a redneck farmer from the bumfucker nowhere. I know how to kill people, and you have fucked up big time, Maxwell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Which is
This
what he
was
basically said.
Yeah, I mean, serious Mark Briscoe is a joy, and it's not a joy that we get very often. So when he is serious, I think it's all the better. I love him saying, "I will make you pay for your sins." I love him saying, talking about his past and stuff like that about them boys. And I mean, it's just a great build. I love that Max pushed for this. I love that Briscoe is playing this a little more straight. It's going to get the best out of both of them. Max is going to bleed a lot, and Briscoe's going to bleed a lot. It's going to be awesome.
It really is. But yeah, we should talk about the next match on the card, which is 100K four-way. And I want to just say briefly, I love the sort of stipulation that a match can be for like a set amount of money. I think that's phenomenal. Sort of it gives a reason for matches that would otherwise be like, oh well, we just thrown these people together. It's like, no, it's a prize fight. For people who have been sort of fighting in the division, reward them, throw them all together, and be like, whoever wins, you get like in this case $100,000. I think it's an excellent stipulation, and it's one that even within the wrestling sort of kayfabe or whatever, but also outside of it, it makes sense as a motive. I don't know. I just love it. I just love it.
Yeah, it's good shit. It's a good build. It's a great build. And I like the 100K stuff. I mean, it really helps them build out like these rivalries, right, between Willow versus Chris, and
Yeah.
Aminata versus Tekla.
I've had this sort of idea in my head, and I have no idea if anyone in AW will ever listen to it. But if this happens, I'll know that you have. Where you have a fight like this. The idea that I had was like a battle royal. I remember when they used to have like these battle royals for like 300K or whatever, and I remember thinking to myself, a really great build for a match would be if you had one of these sort of battle royals for like 100 grand, and it came down. Do you remember like the finish to the '97 Rumble where Steve Austin got eliminated, but the rest didn't see it?
So
Is this
this is where I had some serious issues with Max, as I noted earlier. Not
Oh,
Max Caster, of course, love him. But
no. Dory, did you hear what I said?
what'd you say? Sorry.
No, I was saying, do you remember the '97 Royal Rumble? Uh,
Which one is that? Is that the one where
it's the
Steve
one.
Austin screws over
Yeah,
somebody,
yeah,
or
yeah. I was just saying, if we had like a battle royal, this is an idea I had in my head. A battle
oh
royal of like 100,000 or something, and you did the finish to the '97 Rumble where someone gets eliminated, but the refs don't see it, and they come in and eliminate someone, and they basically rob the 100,000. I reckon that would be a great motivator to start a feud. And you could even have like the big blow off be at a pay per view where it's like if so and so wins, they get the $100,000 that they were rightfully owed back.
yeah. I mean, you could do that. I fear that people would belittle the storyline or make it seem like it's not a big enough deal to be on pay-per-view. I mean, are we talking like main card or 0 hour?
Well, I mean, if you up the stakes a bit, like, I don't know, make it for 250K or something. I feel like that's big
Yeah.
enough to be.
I mean, and you could make it very personal, right? I'm
Yeah,
struggling right
exactly.
now to feed my family and stuff like that. You took money out of my pocket and da da da. Yeah, you could do that. Sorry, I absolutely did not catch what you said earlier. So, um,
Boo.
I
Not
know, I
not
know.
even listening to me.
I know. Well, I didn't expect you to ask me a question about the 1997 Royal Rumble during an AEW review podcast. I'm sorry.
I go on tangents. This is known. Anyway, yeah,
um,
this match,
yes.
Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander, excellent, forever rivalry there. Though I do hope they come together in the tag team soon. Versus Tekla versus Queen Aminata, which is a rivalry that I do not hope gets resolved in the tag team. I want these women to kill each other until the day the sun swallows up the earth. But this match was really excellent. It was one of those. We've had a couple of women's sort of multi-person matches recently where it's felt a bit sort of stilted at parts because it's felt like, oh well, we've done this bit and then we have to go to this, these two fighting or whatever. This was a match in which it all flowed just so effortlessly. I was in awe of it. I really was.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts. I don't think this will be controversial, but one of my favorite parts is when Chris just gets the shit beat out of her by everybody in the match. Like
Yeah.
Aminata just fucking stomps her in oblivion and then is like, "Oh no, I wasn't trying to hit you." And it was just a great time. Willow hit her, Aminata hit her, I think Tekla hit her too. I love Aminata's off with her head. Such a good
Oh my
move.
god.
It's such a great name. It looks awesome. It's just Aminata forever, Tekla forever too.
I
Um,
love I love that Aminata has this 3-move combo that looks absolutely devastating every time. It's like, um, it's a headbutt. I think she calls it the Queen's Crown.
yes.
Um, and then like that spinning sort of twisting DDT, where she catches the leg and not DDT, sorry, a neck breaker. Um, you know the one I mean?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, where she
Yeah,
sort
when
of
she does
catches the
that like huge like DDT onto some yeah, this like the spinning neck breaker. Yes, I know what you mean.
yeah, and she makes it look like a world ender every time. And
Yeah.
then her finisher, the off with her head. Like, I feel like they should absolutely do the work to make that feel like a world ender every time. Have her win like 4 or 5 matches with it. Just that combination, headbutt, neck breaker, off with her head, 1, 2, 3. Because I feel like it looks so devastating every single time.
Yeah. Completely agreed. And
But oh god.
you were talking about how you could build a pay-per-view based on, losing out on the 100K. And later on in the match, as Willow's just about to win after hitting the, Babe with the power bomb, Stat pulls out the referee, which,
Mm.
eventually does lead to Willow not winning the match. She doesn't take the pin, if I recall, but
No,
she
because Aminata takes the pin because
right.
of spooky goth girl interference. I'm
Wow.
very excited. I'm
Who could have
very
seen
excited.
Adam, who could have seen this coming? I don't know. Who could have possibly like called this like I don't know, a month ago, maybe even 2 months. I don't know.
I don't
Crazy.
know, but whoever they
Crazy.
are, I really hope they don't gloat about it until the end of time.
Yeah, what a prick they would be if they gloated about that kind of shit.
Yeah, God.
Just
I,
stuff that doesn't really matter. But anyway,
I also
yeah.
I also hope that whoever it is can pronounce Los Titanes del Aire.
um
I'm never gonna let you live that down, Taco Girl.
Anyway, so Julia spat some, pulled the Muda, spat some green mist into Aminata. Tekla hit the stomp and got her. It was great. And
It
then yeah,
really
Tekla's
was.
got 100K. And after the match was over, they all Julia, Sky Blue, and Tekla all kind of raised each other's hands, and yeah, it looks like we've got a new faction here, and I
When
love women finally getting a faction because God knows
I
the men have gotten plenty of factions.
So do I. I wonder what they call them. I heard some names being thrown around. I heard the Sisters of Sin, which I feel like. I mean, I'm not sold on it.
Yeah, I heard
Okay.
Sisters of the Craft.
Yeah, I mean that's not bad. I kind of just hope that they're like folded into the Hounds of Hell.
We haven't
You know what I
seen
mean?
Julia with Brody in a while though.
I hope they rectify that because their partnership is genuinely excellent. But anyway, I trust the process. But really good match. Tekla, big win for Tekla. I will say that because I feel like she's not got a great amount of wins in AEW. She's gotten over based on sort of her look and her her in-ring ability, but she hasn't necessarily won a lot. So I feel like this was excellent to see.
Yeah. This was a great match. Kind of ruined a little bit by the last half of it and commercial breaks, but the last half of it with my Max app just completely dying and trying to watch it on my phone and then boot it back up on the TV. But the TV's like, you're using too many devices. I'm like, I'm literally using it 2 devices. But then it cut into the Timeless Tony Storm promo that we had. Thank God I got
Yes.
there in time to see Athena. So by then it was rectified. But yeah, Tony came out.
Did you see any of the Timeless Tony Storm promo?
I did not, but I'm reading it right now, and it all sounds
This
pretty.
all you all adore. I
Yep,
wrote it down. This slut you can't rebut. This bitch you want to itch.
I love
This
that one.
skank you want to spank.
That too.
This trollop you can't wallop. This tramp is still the champ. I love this so much. I
Very
absolutely
good.
adore. So, and I'm so glad we can talk about this in just briefly. I'm so glad she beat Mercedes. I love Mercedes. Don't get me wrong, but just for the health of the division and sort of like a rubber stamp of timeless Tony Storm being the greatest woman in AEW history. It's an accolade that maybe I wouldn't have necessarily given Tony Mercedes' first loss, but if you're in that situation, she should. I'm very glad that she got that accolade.
Yeah. I'm also happy with how things ultimately went, and I think it's better for the health of the division, like you said. Not sure that Tony needed that, but it is what it is, and it is better than the alternative ultimately. So I'm happy with it. She threw some praise Mercedes' way and talked
Yeah,
about how
I
if
love.
she had made one false move that she would eat her alive, and then said that she was delicious. So
I love that. I love that she keeps calling him Mercedes Money. I don't know. It just makes me giggle every time.
yeah. So eventually, Raw Athena
Oh,
gets on the Tron, and it doesn't matter that she is timeless because Athena is forever the women's ROH champion. And next week, my God, we are getting. I think it's next week. Correct me if I'm wrong.
it is.
We
Yeah,
are
yeah, it
getting
is.
Billy Starks versus Tony Storm, and oh my God, I'm so excited for that.
Oh my God! Right. So you talk about Matt having the title shot and saying that he's not going to cash in and he's going to do it the honorable way and whatever. It's all well and good. It is a cash in though. Athena should absolutely cash in on Tony Storm and she should absolutely win.
Yes.
Like there's just no ifs and buts about it. Athena has to win. It's the first time that it's the first time that the women have had that sort of particular cash-in thing. Max had it before. Christian Cage has had it now. Max has it again. Great. You can do whatever you want at that point. Not, there are other reasons why she should win, namely because she's fucking Athena and she's incredible, and I want her at the top of AEW forever. But it is a perfect opportunity to be like, right, this is a moment we can create where it's like, this is my personal way I would do it. Personally, it doesn't make a great deal of sense because then I also have to factor in her losing to Billy at Death Before Dishonor, which is going to happen, by the way. But this is how I would do it. Forbidden Door is coming up in London, and I'm biased because I'm going. I reckon that I don't know whether the news about Shuri getting elbow surgery. I don't know when she's getting elbow surgery. I hope that she can delay it until after Forbidden Door. Because my plan is for Tony to face Shuri at Forbidden Door now that she's on her American excursion. And I think that that match would A, be incredible, and B, will be absolutely bloody, insanely violent. I think Tony Storm should get the absolute shit kicked out of her by Shuri, gut it out, get the win, bloody, bruised, battered to fuck, and that's when Athena comes down and cashes in. Just
Yeah.
my
No
just
notes.
my little fantasy booking.
Yeah,
right
no
there.
notes for me. That sounds great. I love Shuri, I love Tony Storm, and I love Athena even more. So yeah, I do think it's fun that Max is like, no, I'm gonna do this by the book. I'm sure he'll cheat and try to get interference during the match itself, but and then Athena's like, bitch, you don't know when I'm gonna show up. So I love that dichotomy between the men's cash in and the women's cash in. Makes it feel different.
I also think, just to have an addendum onto my fantasy booking, that Tony Storm should then maybe, I don't know, help Billy Starks beat Athena. I don't know about all of that, but I also want a rematch, Athena versus Tony in a ring 1-on-1, just because I don't think we should be robbed of that by a catch-in. I want that match, maybe at like All Out or something. I want it to go like 20, 25 minutes. I want it to be incredible, and I want Athena to beat Tony Storm decisively in the middle of that ring. Just absolutely do the cash in, have her sort of scurry away with the title, but then do the rematch and have her rubber stamp that title reign with beating Tony Storm, the apex of the division, clean as a whistle right in the middle of the ring. Just my thoughts on the matter.
Yeah. Well, we will see what happens. Next segment was Nick Wayne and the Patriarchy.
Yes.
This was great promos from everybody. I was a little distracted during this promo for reasons I won't discuss, but this was a really great promo. And Kip Sabian said some words, which was great. And he said that the son sold the false illusion of the greater good, willingly taking bullet after bullet when it might as well have been the father pulling the trigger, and that he prefers the matriarch, which I mean,
yeah. No, to sort of paraphrase Fountains of Wayne, Nick Wayne's mom, she really does have it going on, doesn't she?
Absolutely, she does. Now, Mother Wayne mentions that he had Cage had some trouble getting it up by himself on Saturday, so good stuff. And yeah, Nick Wayne called him old and said all elderly wrestling, I'm pretty sure, and said, how many world champions have I won? How I'm going to, possibly get eventually. So yeah, they're building it pretty nicely.
Let me tell you something. The cadence of this promo, if I close, and not only that, some of the voice, some of the sort of accentuations he was doing in this promo, if I closed my eyes, I could have tricked myself that Christian Cage was delivering this promo.
I absolutely think, by the way, like that's why that Nick hasn't been doing as many promos. I think he's been working with Christian to do promos similar to Christian to an extent. I mean, Nick was always a good promo. I'm not saying he wasn't, but I think Christian has definitely been, honing that.
Yeah, it's paid off because he sounded really, really good in this promo. Nick Wayne is always, I mean, not always, he's only 20. I don't expect him to be rocketed to the top of the card, when he's like 20 years old. But he's always been the sort of guy that I'm like, I feel like you should be doing more sort of indie work to sort of build yourself up. I've always been of the opinion that people like Billy Starks, Billy's better for it than Nick, by the way, should be doing a lot of indie work to sort of get the reps in, learn the craft, because you're not going to get that in AEW for better or for worse. There's only 4 hours of stuff. You're not going to be able to reach your full potential just working television. But I'm really excited with this new direction for Nick Wayne. I think he has really come on leaps and bounds in the non, in-ring aspect, because he's always been great in ring. He's an incredibly natural talent. I feel like he's come on really, really far in his sort of his promos, his presence, his gimmick. Just the things that you won't be able to necessarily cultivate as strongly on the independents. You will need that sort of TV guidance, especially from someone like Christian Cage. Just very impressed with Nick Wayne overall. That's all I want to say.
Yeah. Same. Pretty quick match next. Okada got a squash win and then called out Swerve. And I'm very excited about this.
Dory, you're burying the lead here. The
burying the lead?
The match is unimportant. We need to talk about
fuck me.
Kazuchika Okada's theme music.
I even forgot this happened, actually. But yeah, go ahead.
So, one of the consistently greatest themes in wrestling, for my money, has been Kazuchika Okada's Rainmaker theme. The coin drop, the screaming guitars of the whole thing. Excellent stuff. Aura up the wazoo. It's been around for 13 years, which, as far as themes go, is a hell of a run. Only things like Metalingus, what else has had a long run like that? The Time Is Now, that sort of thing. 13 years is a hell of a run for a theme song in wrestling. And they got rid of it. It's gone. I like the song that they replaced it with because the band that did it are very popular in in sort of Japanese wrestling. One OK Rock. I think Okada's a big fan of them. And B, it's a good song. I will need some time to process it because I get why they've done it. The theme song is over as hell, and you don't want Okada to be babyface over because he's with Don Callis. He beat Kenny Omega. He killed him. You wanna jar the audience into hating the man, so that it's just natural when he turns face, it comes back and everyone is very happy. Same thing that happened to Hangman. But it's such a jarring shift that I need a minute, man. I need to compartmentalize it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I think I pretty much agree with you. I don't really have any big takes on this. I want to hear it a few more times with Okada before I make one decision or another. This song sounded fine. I don't really think they needed to replace it, but I understand your point about them wanting Okada to have less babyface reactions from the crowd.
What I will say is I think that it will work better in that sense than say Hangman's did, because Hangman's heel theme is this is a controversial statement. I think it's better than Ghost Town Gunfight. I think Black Cat is better. I'm happy to see the old one back, but I will mourn the loss of it. So I feel like it sort of undercut its own mission, to be, the heel theme. Because it was never a heel theme for me. Whenever I'd hear it, I'd be like, oh my God, I love it. Hangman, yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. I love both themes, and not with Hangman. I mean, we'll see what happens with Okada. I'm optimistic that they will either change it or we will adapt to it.
Yeah, I think we'll probably adapt to it. I think they're not going to change it. I don't think this isn't like me Tower where it was bad theme replacing a beloved theme, and also with the thing with Mina as well. It wasn't an alignment thing. They just changed their theme to something worse, and we all went, "What the fuck are you doing?" And they went, "Oh, okay, sorry, my bad." Whereas this, I think, has sort of logical, what's the word I'm looking for? Reasons for it. So, we'll see how it goes. But as you were about to say before I interrupted you, I do apologize.
Yeah, how dare you? Getting my people together right now to have a word with you. But anyway, last match, main event.
No. You were going to talk about what happens post match.
Oh shit. That's right. We went on for so long. I totally forgot we didn't even talk about it. Um. So yeah. Fucking Okada called out Swerve, and I can't imagine that Okada is losing in his first title defense. So that's wild. I guess Okada and Swerve are gonna fight maybe it all out, which is a hell of a fucking match.
It really is. And also, I saw a lot of people saying that, like, if they're going to make the unified title, the second world title, you need to have Okada's first defense be someone on the main event level. And there is no one more main event in AEW right now, except for maybe Hangman, than Swerve Strickland. Phenomenal
Right.
first choice, I think. And also, they're going to have a hell of a match. You just know it.
Yeah. So
But
I'm excited for that match. We'll get to the main event. I'm not trying to rush things. It's been a
no,
day.
no, no, no. We'll get through it. I mean, this main event, it was, for my money, probably the weakest match on the show, apart from
I agree.
Okada's squash, and that doesn't really count. It was a good match. Don't get me wrong.
Eh,
It was Hangman,
Yeah.
Marco and Powerhouse Hobbs versus the Death Riders of Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and John Moxley. Interesting choice, by the way, to have Hangman and Moxley wrestle each other again. 4 days after their Texas Death match. But I do get why they did it. It's sort of like, I think it's probably the final bow of Hangman's involvement with the Death Riders, as they sort of turn towards what I imagine will be the final act of the Death Riders, which is Darby Allin, basically being the Sting to John Moxley's Hogan, right?
Right.
But the match was pretty good. Claudio Castagnoli and Powerhouse Hobbs had meat chance right from the off. Claudio had ball chance, which I do not agree with. Ball chance should be reserved for Ricochet and on special occasions Stokely Hathaway only. But it is what it is. Good. I genuinely don't know whether there's much to talk about in this match.
There really
Um,
isn't. I liked the match, but and I mean I know this is gonna get me some heat, but Mox just doesn't do it for me sometimes, and this is one of those matches where like every time he got in the ring, and I know his whole shtick here was cowardly heel, but it just didn't do much for me. But everybody else was great. Everybody else was great. I mean, Hobbs, of course, Briscoe, Claudio was good. Wheeler was great. Shit eating. Hangman was fantastic as always. It was a solid match. I did think it was like a 4 out of 5, but a pretty weak one. Definitely the weakest match of the night. I think what really matters is that we're fucking doing NWO Sting stuff. Don't let anybody revise that history, by the way. That angle rules, like the whole story they told, and not the ending,
yes.
of course. That sucks, and it will always suck
Well, the
because
whole
they,
point of Starcade '97 being such a letdown is
yeah,
because everyone was so invested in the
yes.
story that
I literally watched there's a video you can go watch on YouTube that has the whole like Sting NWO storyline. It's fucking brilliant. Like the whole thing is really really good. And then in the back of your mind the whole time you're like, but Starcade, but Starcade." So it's just a drag on the whole thing, but it's so
I
good.
feel like
And
I feel like, by the way, when we look back at the Death Riders, even when we're going through the more dire parts of the story, like
sure.
the Coke feud and stuff, we will have
Right.
the reverse in our head, where you go through the NWO stuff and you're thinking, oh, but Starcade, oh, but Starcade. But you go through the bad parts of the Death Rider story, but in the back of your head, you're like, oh, but, we've got All In. It ends really well.
Right, exactly. And I do think that there are some great moments along the way too. And also, I think that they can do this better than they did the NWO stuff with Darby, and I think that's pretty obviously what we're doing here. It's very much a callback. Darby
I
is
mean, he
trying
was
to
he
not
was in the
just
rafters,
he's
you
in the
know.
raft. I mean, obviously he's basically inherited Sting's title. And so yeah, I mean that's what they're doing. Darby's going to take them apart one by one. Maybe it'll end in death in death. In blood and gut. It might end in death, I don't know. But blood and guts is a possibility. I think Darby is going to finally beat Mox after losing twice to him so far, I want to say. Um
Mm.
I think they'll have some kind of, brutal death match or whatever, and Darby
I,
will
I
win,
also
and that'll
I
pretty
also
much be
think
the
if
end of
they
it.
do I also think if they do Blood and Guts, that Bryan Danielson will absolutely be in the match. Because it makes logical storyline sense. Now that he is back, on AEW doing wrestling things, and B, because he's never done a blood and guts match, and I think he's on the record as saying he wants to do one. So, it seems pretty set up for that. But good angle to end the show. Obviously sets up a lot for the future. Next week, I hope that we get a sense of Hangman's first proper AEW title feud coming out of it. That isn't just Max, because I don't necessarily think it will be Max straight away.
No, I don't either. I think I think this week was all about the vibes and just embracing the good vibes of Hangman winning and Mox being on the losing end. I think this upcoming week or next week or whatever, however you want to say it, is when we're going to start teasing stuff besides Max. That's just my speculation, though.
I also think that we might set up a Forbidden Door match or two, because we do, that is the next pay-per-view on the schedule.
That's right. Yep. That's on my birthday.
And also, selfishly, I want them to start setting up Forbidden Door matches, because I'm fucking going. So that would be nice, please. I really don't want a rehash of All In 2023, where I paid like over, nearly fucking 200 quid for a ticket, and we haven't got like any sort of semblance of a card 3 weeks out, and I'm like, dude, the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. We still got a month and a week, so hopefully they announce some bangers.
Yeah, I trust in AW a lot more than I did back then. I'm sure that they will figure it all out. I just don't necessarily trust Gage.
Nice. All oot.
Oh, very good. No, I just don't necessarily trust Gado, that's all.
Yeah, I don't trust him either. But hopefully Tony can talk some sense into him. We get a nice Yoda Suju match, a nice Gabe Kidd match. Zack Sabre Jr.
There are three possibilities that I will accept for Hangman's match at not All In, at Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
Shingo Takagi,
Sure.
Yota Tsuji,
Sure.
David Finlay.
Okay.
I think those three.
The last one would be fun because Hangman was a member of the Bullet Club for a little bit.
And also, David Finlay has quietly become one of the more reliably great people in New Japan.
Yeah, he's been doing some good stuff. That match with him and Brody, I want to say.
Yeah.
Earlier this year was super solid. I was very impressed. I think when I saw him in person at that Lowell show, I want to say he wrestled there too. He looked really good. I could be confusing him with Gabe Kidd though, but either way.
But not only that, he had a great match with Hiroki Goto. He had a really great match with Shota Umino in the final of the New Japan Cup, which I think is Shota's best match.
That's some fucking miracle work right there.
It really is. It's Shota's best match in like God knows how long. But yeah, I'm excited for the show. I just need Gato to pull his head out of his ass, really.
Yep.
All
right.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yes, I can hear you yawning.
Before I fall asleep. Yes. As a reminder to our audience, 8 hours of work in the hot sun plus 2 hours of class plus an hour and a half of this. So very tired.
Yeah, and also it's 2:00 in the morning here.
Yes.
But we shall I'll probably get this out tomorrow afternoon now. Just makes more sense. So if you're hearing this, it is at least Friday the 18th of July. But it was a good episode of Dynamite, a really good episode. Great. Set up a lot of good stuff. Excited for the future. You wanna pop off anything else?
You know what? There was no Thunder Rosa on this episode.
And ain't we fucking thank the Lord for that. Jesus. I got into an argument, funnily enough, not to stretch out the show anymore. I got into an argument with a friend today about Thunder Rosa.
You were telling me about that.
He is a stalwart Thunder Rosa defender, and I was like, I'm coming to New Brunswick in October. I know where you live. And we have fundamentally different opinions on wrestling, but he's still my friend, so it's fine. But that one was pretty dire, pretty unforgivable. You know, we will have
Yeah.
to go to we might have to go to couples therapy in St. John for that. But you know, I love him anyway. I just cannot bear that woman. But anyway, we that should wrap it up for us today. Please, you know, if you enjoyed the video, and we really hope you do, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You know, share it about to anyone that you think might like this sort of thing. This one was a bit more lethargic because I think we're both very tired. But
Yes.
we're normally a bit more high energy than this, I promise. You know, hopefully next week I'll have drunk like 5 cups of coffee beforehand, and I won't have a latent sore throat, so I'll be a bit more active. But apart from that, do you have anything to add?
Just hope everyone's enjoying wrestling. Go check out, you know what? Fuck it, I do have something to add. Go check out that Prestige show that they put on YouTube. They had some tech issues, but that main event with Judas Icarus and Alan Angels, goddamn. Prestige has been quietly, well, I'm gonna steal some phrasing from Adam here. Prestige has been quietly one of my favorite indies for the past year. They're one of the only indies I really consistently keep up with because they put all their shows up for free, as opposed to some indies that look really good but have a $15 streaming service. Looking at you, DPW. But anyway, Prestige has been doing awesome shit, and the Judas Icarus versus Alan Angels match. I know some people haven't been keeping up with Alan, but he is legitimately a very good heel. He just gets it. He's really good. There's a reason why everyone calls him Alan Asshole. So just go check out that match. It's really good, really cathartic. It's a promotion that I only sporadically keep up with, but I was fist pumping in the air on my goddamn work break. That's how excited I was about it. So go check it out. There's a couple other great matches on that card too. The Combat Clash. So go check out Prestige. They're doing great stuff right now.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, you know, I thought that Elena Black looked pretty good on the show. You know, I know that there's been a lot of talk about her potentially sort of, you know, having a look at, you know, being looked at by AEW. You know, if she performs like she did there, we'll be okay. You know, there was a 4-way that was really, really good, featuring Mustafa Ali, man like Dory.
Yes, that was so good.
You know, really, really good stuff. And that steel cage match in the main was incredible. But yeah, support your indies. You know, I know we talk about AEW pretty much exclusively on this show, but genuinely, if you can and you're in the mood, support independent wrestling because God knows they need it.
Sure.
You know, if you're in Britain, support, you know, Progress, Rev Pro, your local independent, support Riot Girls, you know, support Eve, support who else am I forgetting? If you know, if they come to your shores, support people like the Japanese sort of women's shows like Sareism, TJPW, you know, Sendai Girls. Just get into wrestling and find your niche and love it because there's something for everyone. But that's my screed to end the show. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to Dory for joining me. And we're gonna go have a nap or, you know, a sleep.
Yep.
But thank you for joining us and good night.
Bye everyone. Remember the 97 Royal Rumble for some reason.
Well.